All right, what's going on? We back, Mercy Sports Talk. Told you guys I was gonna try to get a stream in the morning to talk about the Detroit Pistons. So I'm gonna continue to bang it out with the Pistons in the upcoming weeks, man. And yeah, we're gonna end up to keep talking about them, man. Well, this week if they make the playoffs, we cover the playoffs and stuff of that nature. If not, after the season, we go into some off-season talk, but really turn it on to the draft for the Detroit Pistons. So I mean Detroit Lions, excuse me. That's the plan going forward. But once again, I definitely appreciate everybody for checking in. Don't forget, you can always follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out to the email if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, or you just want to chop it up. But definitely appreciate everybody for showing up, man. And yeah, man. Kind of talk about yesterday's game a little bit. What's up, Rodardo? I kind of did a review later in the night about Pistons yesterday, man, and just can't beat the Hornets, man. We don't have no answer for Kemba Walker. Plain and simple, Kemba Walker is just too good for Bruce Brown right now. Too good for Reggie Jackson. Able to shoot. He's shooting a lot better. It seemed like this year when he playing us. And then he able to drive the basketball. And then what's up, J Third? Then he actually able to, stop and pop. I mean, he got a lot of assistance last night, even with Marvin Williams and who else was out? It was Marvin Williams. And it was another guy, Cody Zeller, excuse me, that was out last night, and he just torched us, man. Like, and then Dwayne Bacon, I don't know where the fuck he came from. He had some good shots. And Jeremy Lamb and Frank Kaminsky came off and had really good games off the bench. So when Kemba Walker getting that type of support, I mean, he hard to deal with. You know what I'm saying? He hard to deal with, man, for real, man. And, that's the type of person that we need, running our team at point guard is Kemba Walker. More than likely, he probably going to step to L.A., I don't know, step to New York. Always can sign a trade for him. So, other teams that, they can always sign a trade for him. Woody Kennedy, what's going on? If the Pistons don't win the last two, they deserve to be in the playoff. Fritzy Tez. Real talk of Dewan. Congratulations to the Magic since Dwight left. Yeah, man. So last night, just it is what it is. People always want to talk about stats and put emphasis on, maybe Andre Drummond getting 23 rebounds, but the name of the game is to put the ball in the hole, and then stop the ball from being put in the hole. And for the most part, Bismack Biyombo kind of hung with Dre for a minute in there, man. But I expected a more dominant game from Andre Drummond. But the thing about it, no matter how dominant the numbers look for Andre Drummond, it don't really translate. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, like back in the day, Andre Drummond would have had a huge impact on the game. But now it's all about, guard play. It's all about the Hardens. It's all about Steph Curry's and them stepping back, shooting threes. It's all about creating. It's not a big guy game. The game is not played inside out no more. It's played outside in. Even when you see kids warming up at the high school games, they taking 3-point shots instead of warming up with layups. They taking step back 3-pointers. So the game since the 80s and the 90s for the most part, but really the 80s, the game is going away from technical fundamentals, man. So a lot of these guys ain't fundamental no more. Everything is pretty much on orthodox when it comes to the game of basketball. Everything is unorthodox. Nothing is how to shoot a layup. Everybody finger rolling and they scooping instead of shooting an overhand like an overhand layup where you able to finish at the rim. Nobody's respecting the elbow range, the mid range game. It's so far removed from fundamental basketball. Everything is unorthodox. Guys jacking up threes, coming in on 2-and-1 fast break, pulling up at the 3-point line, spacing all fucked up when they run free. And this is at the professional level we talking about. This is at the professional level. What's up, Zorro? This is at the professional level we talk about. We're not talking just about high school or PAL or Pee Wee basketball. I mean, these are how professionals playing the game now, and the professional guys, they set the standard for the rest of basketball, not only in America but a lot of times internationally. So this is how the game being played. It's not being played inside out. And I had Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond been in tandem, in the 90s or the 80s, yeah, they'd have been hella nice. You know what I'm saying? Pretty with this roster, pretty not still not championship material. Would have been nice, but at the end of the day, you know, everybody know what they got to do. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know what the Pistons got to do. Even, you know, like I said before, a lot of people approach this Detroit sports shit as a fanboy shit. I don't approach it like that. I approach it, you know, looking at what needs to be done from a realistic vantage point. Maybe I should update my description. I don't approach this as fanboy shit. I don't sit here and hope. You know what I'm saying? I don't go to church, you know. So I don't believe in, you know, sitting here paying tithes and praying, you know, praying, and it's gonna happen. Even if you believe in prayer, you believe in all that spiritual crap that the pastor be preaching, he don't need to be preaching the real truth. It's not, at least not here in the city of Detroit. They'll be preaching the real truth. If you sit there and believe, if you sit in your ass, you just pray, the shit gonna happen. This shit not gonna happen. You gotta get up there and make it happen. You know, you gotta put action into words. Am I religious? Absolutely not anymore. Do I believe in a higher being? Absolutely so. You know, absolutely so. So you gotta really believe it. You gotta have faith, and you will reap it. You will reap it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, y'all can't be sitting here treating this like a church congregation and thinking everything gonna be okay when you can sit here and see the Pistons got glaring weaknesses. You know, even Dwayne Casey, you know, at the end of the day, some people complain about Dwayne Casey, and my only gripe is how he handles going to the fourth quarter and the second unit going to the fourth quarter in critical times. Sometimes you got to run your starters into the ground. Sometimes you got to run your starters into the ground, especially critical situations like that. And like I said before, this is why they should have tanked. This is why they should have tanked. Because, you know, at the end of the day, if you believe in the process, you believe Stefanowski and Malik Rose can draft in the middle of the draft better than Joe Dumars did, then yeah, okay, you can go for it though. But when you got a projected draft as good as this one, and you got an opportunity to really get up there and get somebody of note, then you gotta think about that, man. You gotta think about, you know, moving up and getting somebody like that and trying to be bad, because guess what? The Pistons just lack the depth. You know what I'm saying? The Pistons just lack the depth. Like I said before, it's only two players on this team that's going to start in over half the league, and that's Blake Griffin, that's Andre Drummond. Reggie Jackson going to ride the pine for a lot of teams. You know, he might start in Phoenix or Orlando, but he ain't starting out in L.A., either one. You know, he ain't starting out in Sacramento. He ain't starting in Golden State. He ain't starting in Portland. He ain't starting in Milwaukee. He not starting in Toronto. You know what I'm saying? Shit, he might not start in the Knicks over a healthy Moutier and a healthy Dennis Smith Jr. So really, you out there, and you know, Luke Kennard is another guy. You know what I'm saying? Luke Kennard just don't have no confidence. I don't know if it's a disconnect or if it's a culture barrier, because I don't know if you guys follow football, but a lot of you, other than the Lions, but you heard what David Irvin said. He said Jason Garrett just can't relate to black players. He said that. Maybe Luke Kennard feel uncomfortable around black players. Because, you know, I remember was it yesterday or 2 days ago when they played Oklahoma City? I can't remember which game it was, and Luke Kennard clapped his hands and called for the ball from Ish Smith, and he got aggressive, and Ish Smith waved his ass off. Hey man, get the fuck up out of here. You know, and that shouldn't be. Luke Kennard is a better player than Ish Smith. You know, at least his potential will indicate that. You know, when Luke Kennard is aggressive, and he should be taking the second most shots behind Blake Griffin. He should be having the most shot attempts. You know, he says they're not taking the trends in the league into consideration. When Philly tanked purposely, they were the only ones doing what they were doing. If we tank, it'll be at the same time. At the end of the day, I mean, you're not winning. You know what I'm saying? You're not winning. So what do you got to lose? What, you get into the top 5? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying, you're not winning. You go into the playoffs to get swept. You know what I'm saying? You're not winning. So really, you make the playoffs. Let's say hypothetically make the playoffs, and what you win, top 15. You know what I'm saying? That's how I just look at it. You in the top 15, and yeah, some good players that fell around there. I mean, 15 and about around the 10 to 15 range with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, uh, Rudy Gobert, Clinton Capella, Tony Parker, Emmanuel Ginobili. You had Rudy Gobert, you had Giannis Antetokounmpo. Right out the 10, right at the 10, you had C.J. McCollum. Shit, you can keep going. Second round, Monte Ellis. End of the first, Isaiah Thomas, Draymond Green. So yeah, you're right. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you got to play the odds, and I understand that the conspiracy theory may be true. The conspiracy theory may be true that the league don't show the Pistons no love in the lottery. But shit, the higher you can get, the better type of player you can get. That's what I'm saying. You remember this about the Pistons as well too. The Pistons don't have no cap room. Going into the offseason, they negative almost $10 million under the cap. They're negative $10 million under the cap. You got to remember that. So what moves can you make in the offseason? You might get a mid-level exemption. You get the veteran mid-level exemption. I can't exactly know what the cap number is. I know they gave that to Wayne Ellington this season. But really, if you keep this intact, you should have, and you keep this intact for next year. I don't know what next year's draft looking like. I'm not versed into what the high school scene looked like. Maybe 5, 6, 7, almost 10 years ago, I was immersed in the high school scene. I knew what players was good and what players I liked. But this year was probably the year to tank to try to get up there. You can't tell me Jay Morant wouldn't have been that guy for the Pistons if they can get up there. How it'd been a perfect fit. But Chicago, a team that's more talented than we are, just young, and they don't have a coach. Now they tanked and they trying to get up in the sweepstakes. Phoenix, who had a few top picks, well, at least with DeAndre Ayton, now they still trying to tank and get into that position. Cleveland once again. Would it shock you if Cleveland got the number 1 spot again? They gonna have the number 1 spot 4 times in this fucking decade, I believe, or around this decade. You sitting here telling me that this team is good enough to be what? At the end of the day, this team is good enough to be what? That's just a question. The Bucks are gonna start us, and we are gonna end up in a terrible pick. No big name free agents coming. They don't have the money, Willie Kennedy, for big name free agents. The money's not there regardless, unless it's a via sign and trade. And the best asset that the Pistons got that they're willing to move, is Reggie Jackson. That's their best asset. Reggie Jackson is their best asset, and they really to move it because Reggie Jackson has an expiring contract next year of almost $20 million. So that's really $20 million of free money for somebody out there. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that the Pistons haven't made the playoffs but once in the last 9 years, but they got swept in too. And I've been preaching that they should have been blew this thing up. And it's not about a relationship with Andre Drummond. It's not about the fanfare with Blake Griffin. Sometimes you got to start from scratch. Sometimes you got to be bad and get up there. Did Philly swing and hit and miss at something? Yeah. Originally, they had to wait, a year or two for Joel Embiid? Give me a minute, y'all. Got a phone call. Yeah, my bad, y'all, man. We back, man. Pretty sorry, man, for the delay, man. But yeah, man, we talking about the Pistons still, and yeah, man. So I was just irritated this morning, bro. I'm sorry, that I'm irritated, but yeah, give me a minute. What's going on, Sean? I see you, man. No, I had to take a phone call, man, but yeah, man, talking about the Pistons, man. Like, they just don't have enough, man, talent, man. And then, obviously you get the Reggie Jackson contract off the books next year if they just let it run its course. And you don't owe him $20 million no more. They still paying Josh Smith like $5 or $6 million from way back from when he was a Piston. So, and he joined the Big Three. Shout out to the Big Three. They on CBS right now. Yeah, man, they just don't have enough talent, man. And then again, the knock on Blake Griffin, and I'm gonna always make him synonymous with Chris Paul. The knock on Blake Griffin and Chris Paul was that they always get injured at the wrong times, and that's a fact. Chris Paul, they was up 3-2 on the Warriors last year. Chris Paul get injured. Blake Griffin last year get injured. Blake Griffin down the stretch when we need him, he been injured since the All-Star break. Right around the All-Star break, he been injured. You know what I'm saying? He been tired, he been fatigued, and when you tired and fatigued, that increases your chances of getting injured. That increases your chances of getting injured, and for him, it increased his chances of getting injured. He got injured, playing fatigue. He never been built to play 82 games. He came into the league with an injury, and all of that. But also, I was talking about the Sixers, and yeah, they had some misses, but they got some hits and they took some losses. They missed on Fultz, they missed on Nerlens Noel, they missed on Ben Simmons and Embiid for a minute, but they end up getting healthy and end up coming together, and it can end up working for him. He said they still can make a playoff pitch. I want to see them versus Toronto. At the end of the day, Toronto probably gonna beat them. The playoffs and regular season is different. But I understand they beat Toronto 3-0, and we feel like they got Toronto's number. But do we really got Toronto's numbers with half of Blake Griffin? You got to ask yourself. At this point, they got to make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? At this point, ain't no two ways around it. They got to make the playoffs. I'm not saying they should make the playoffs. But you got fans now that's actually starting to face reality that they know this team not that good, and I've been saying that from the beginning. It ain't about the coaching, it ain't about the GM right now. He inherited a team that made a ton of bad moves. They traded all their assets off, man. They traded Morris off, and they got Avery Bradley, who ended up a story from the year before with the Celtics, got him in trouble with the Pistons. The Pistons didn't want him representing them. They sent Bradley out to the Clippers. So basically, they had assets to play with, pretty much. They got Reggie Jackson. They tied a bunch of useless money up into him. You know what I'm saying? They got rid of Tobias Harris. They got rid of Marcus Morris. Then got rid of Tobias and Avery Bradley for whoever that was, for Blake Griffin and them. And Reggie Bullock, who no longer here. They had assets. You know what I'm saying? They could have built something, man. But at the end of the day, you know why the Pistons ain't really never succeeded? They gonna make the playoffs, bro. We didn't want to play Philly in the first round. They playing for a position. They ain't playing for no position, bro. They ain't playing for no position. You don't let Charlotte sweep you 3 times, beat you 3 times this year. This ain't position they playing for. They should want to play. What the fuck? Excuse me, how can I help you?
Hi, I just want to give you an invitation to a very important event that's coming up on the death of Christ. You got the date and the time on it. I just want to leave it.
You can leave it. My dog. You can leave it in the mailbox.
Okay.
I don't want him to get out. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Hopefully you can make it then.
All right. Thank you. Blessings. Shh. It's okay, buddy. Yeah, my bad. This is crazy ass morning so far, man. So, yeah. Yeah, man, that's a crazy ass morning, man. So that shit crazy, man. I was wondering why my dog didn't bark, but he finally sensed her. He usually sense shit like that, but she didn't grab the door or nothing. So he usually know. So that's crazy. I gotta give him a treat. He said if LBJ was averaging a triple-double for 3 straight years, he would have got MVP every year, but Westbrook get one. That's how I go, man. But, yeah, to get back on that Pistons stuff, I'm just not saying that they going to miss the playoffs. I still said they going to make the playoffs. They should beat Memphis. They should beat the Knicks. Now, that dude from Toronto that's on Memphis, right, he going crazy to the mug, dog. He's a problem right now. You know, he doing really, really good over there. But Mike Conley ain't been playing, and Valanciunas, he been having his game. So Memphis ain't no cakewalk. They gonna be playing spoiler, but they should be playing for positioning. And then the Knicks, they playing for draft positioning. So I'm not really worried about going to New York. But the Memphis is a game that kind of worries me. They should be able to beat Memphis, and especially Mike Conley don't play in New York without Blake Griffin. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, but my whole thing is this: they should have just tanked. And the problem with the Pistons over the last 9 or 10 years has been they never tanked. They sat here and tried to build some shit on the fly for 9 and 10 years. Was it shuffling Andre Drummond, Greg Monroe around? May have been, you know, having some success with Brandon Jennings. They never sat here other than Andre Drummond and got a high-profile free agent. They never done it. They never got a high, you know. He played last night, Blake Griffin, but he ain't 100%. A lot of people say he shouldn't have been out there. But they never got a high-profile free agent or a draft pick. You know you're not going to get a high-profile free agent. So how do you build a team? It's a number of ways you can build a team. You know, you could trade off your draft capital and try to, and whatever assets you got. Shut up. You could try to trade off your draft assets, whatever capital you got, and try to go get a star like Blake Griffin and take a risk. But if it's a star that's getting moved like Blake Griffin, it's for a reason. And Blake Griffin was getting moved not because he wasn't a team player, not because he wasn't working hard and trying to expand his game. He got traded because of durability issues. Chris Paul got let go because of durability issues. They wanted to blow it up. You know what I'm saying? And at some time, you have to blow it up. And the Pistons have never blown it up. They tried to build on the fly if they lost Blake Griffin with Nazem Muhammad and then with Chris Webber. And then as that team faded away, they tried to fill it in with Allen Iverson. It didn't work. They tried to do the Charlie Villanueva, Ben Gordon situation, Josh Smith. They tried to recreate that perfect storm they did with Chauncey, Rip, and Big Ben and Tayshaun and them. They tried to recreate that perfect storm with Joe Dumars, and it hadn't worked. It hadn't worked. So you've been trying to build on the fly for 10 years, and you're getting the same results. If it's Brandon Jennings, if it's Tobias Harris, if it was whichever Morris it was, Marcus Morris, I think it was. If it was Nazem Richardson, whatever his name, Nazem, whatever that dude name is, Nazem Muhammad. If it was, Chris Webber, if it was bringing in Josh Smith, Charlie V, Ben Gordon, whoever it was they was trying to bring in, it never really worked. So for 10 years, you've been trying to shuffle players in and out of Detroit. You got old faded stars. You got old, borderline stars like Josh Smith, who's still getting paid for the Pistons on payroll this year for like $5 or $6 million in between there. And it never really worked. So at what point do you say, fuck it, I got to tear it down? 10 years, you've been trying to build this thing back up on the fly, and it hadn't worked. T-Mac, I forgot about him. Shit. You don't need high draft picks. You just can't miss in the draft. That's damn near impossible. That's dead. Did you think the Phoenix Suns thought they was going to get what they got from Devin Booker? Did you think the Bucks thought what they were going to get from Giannis? CJ McCollum was probably an easy one because he was balling on Duke ass. You know what I'm saying? You think the Spurs knew exactly what they was getting from Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, and the Houston knew they was getting with Clint Capella? Or you think, Monte Ellis, they thought they was going to get that from him? Or you thought they going to get that from Lou Williams or Isaiah Thomas or Draymond Green in the second round? No, they didn't think. They didn't think about that. They fucked around and got lucky, a lot of them teams. They didn't think a lot of them dudes were going to go on to be even the players that they became. And let's not act like the Pistons ain't had guys like that. Let's not act like they didn't have Chris Middleton or they didn't have Spencer Dinwiddie. They ain't do the job and draft them, but they just never developed them and never let them play. In all these years, the Pistons been bad, right? What's the point of not playing young players? I never understood it. What do you have to lose? Why? I understand why Darko had to earn his spot, right? I understand that because he was behind Rashid, Ben, and what Corliss, and a lot of other Mehmet or Coral, I think, was still here as well. He was behind those guys, right? But I understood why Darko had to earn his spot. But a lot of these other dudes out here, why didn't Chris Middleton get more shine? You had Aaron Aflalo who went on and was solid after that. Why didn't he get more playing time? Why did Spencer Dinwiddie get more playing time? They should have been logging starter minutes. As soon as his knee was healed, they should have been logging starter minutes. You know, that's real talk. That's real talk. You know what I'm saying? He says Bruce Brown is an offensive liability. So is Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard, if he ain't got the ball in his hand and they ain't find a way to engage him, which 90% of the time they not trying to find a way and engage him, he a defensive and offensive liability. So, you know what I'm saying? So you got dudes that's baking, that's cooking, that's cooking. I don't think Luke Kennard is Stanley Johnson 2.0. Luke Kennard, they just don't find a way to run plays for him. Because when Luke Kennard when he get into a rhythm and he's an active vocal point on offense, which he should be if he coming with the bench, he should be the number one vocal point on offense. If he on the second team, he should be the second vocal point on offense behind Blake Griffin. He don't play with no. I think it's a culture shock for Luke Kennard in the NBA, man. He can play. I think when I seen he snapped his hands to call the ball from Ish Smith and Ish Smith waved him off. It's just like a piece of him died right there. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, he's just tired of this shit. They should be fine. They should be running the same off-ball screens for Luke Kennard that they was running for Rip Hamilton at the very minimum. Same pin downs. They should be putting him in the pick and roll with Andre Drummond. His ability to pick and pop, his ability to dish a little bit, and his ability to roll and step back and hit the three-pointer, dog. That's Dwayne Casey fault for not, drawing up some game plan to get Luke Kennard active. I don't think that's him. I think that's just, the people around him. Man, he don't have a alpha male mentality with the Detroit Pistons. And I was saying that about another player too. It was another player that reminded me of that was real passive out there in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? That they just, but it's crazy though. It's crazy. It ain't that he don't have the talent. It ain't that he don't have the talent. They don't find a way to give him the ball. They can get a ball to Blake Griffin and he dribble it and, he might create something on the other side. Like the Dwayne Casey offense, it need to be drawing up plays. If you really want to make guys like Reggie Jackson better, it got to be your offense. It got to be your blueprint. It got to be your schematic. He got to run a better offense. A lot of the times the Pistons ain't really running nothing. A lot of pick and roll, dish to Dre. All right, we penetrating. We either gonna shoot the floater or we gonna throw it up to Dre. A lot of that shit is really falling on Dwayne Casey. I'm not saying he a bad coach, but he don't really have the ideal system that's gonna make marginal players look better in his system. Like Greg Popovich, Greg Popovich is the equivalent of the Patriots. They're not gonna ask you and put you in a position that you can't fulfill. Well, they're not gonna ask you to do nothing that you can't do. That's the outer skirts of your ability. Everything you do is gonna be within that player. He gonna expand that player's maximum potential. He don't have the players, but he still ain't expanding guys' maximum potential like Luke Kennard. It took him a half a season just to get Reggie Jackson comfortable in his role. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Luke Kennard can play. So why ain't they really sitting there, making it a vocal point? Because he their best shooter, bar none. The very same thing that they doing with Wayne Ellington, why can't they do that with Luke Kennard? You know what I'm saying? Why they can't just, do some moving ball screens and give and go and let him come off them screens like that? I don't think it's Luke Kennard. I think it's the coaching staff. And then again, you sit here and a lot of you guys wanted them to get Michael Conley Jr. I wasn't in favor of that only because of the contract and his this dude, this truck next door to me, man. Like, please just throw the whole truck away. But this dude, with the contract, I forgot the fuck I was saying. But yeah, back to Luke Kennard. I forgot. This nigga truck threw me off. But Luke Kennard, like I said before, he ain't playing with no damn confidence because I don't think they running plays for him. He not a vocal point. He a second best offensive threat. But then that's what I was gonna say. Then again, they want a lot of you guys like Mike Conley. I didn't like Mike Conley because of his age. He was coming off an injury, and then he was owed like $35 million for like 3 or 4 more years or some shit like that, right? But they was gonna trade for Mike Conley, but the Pistons refused to put Luke Kennard in there. You know, he said Jalen Rose was on live with him. Said Wade is better than Isaiah Thomas. Wade can't fuck with the. Nah. Isaiah Thomas was the best player on each championship team he won. Dwayne Wade, some people argue that Shaquille O'Neal and LeBron James was the best player. So I definitely think he better than I definitely think he better than Paul Pierce, but it's a totally different conversation. Luke Kennard had 10 games when he was balling. What changed in Luke? I don't know, man. Maybe health. He been injured. Like I said before, they not running plays for him, man. I see him sitting in the corner and Ish Smith doing his thing or Reggie doing his thing. He need to go out there with the mentality that I'm going to do my thing, bro. I'm going to fuck what they think about. When I get this ball, I'm going to be aggressive. When I get the shot, I'm going to shoot it. But it's a confidence thing with him. And I think that started with the coaching staff, man. They got to instill confidence in him. But if you ain't going to use him the right way, then you need to go ahead and move him. I don't think it's that he didn't got no heart. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that. I think they not running plays for him. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Because when we see when he get going and hitting shots, he do really, really well. This got to do with Dwayne Casey. That's your second best offensive threat, in my opinion, on the team. When he going. The ability to shoot, the ability to score, the ability to hit it for the mid-range and drive a little bit. They ain't get him engaged. That's Dwayne Casey for it. That's Dwayne Casey for it. But like I said, when you put it in perspective, when you put this in perspective, for 10 years, I think 9 years they missed the playoff. Well, 8 or 9 years they missed the playoffs. This would be 10 if they make it a miss it 2 for 10 or 1 for 9. Okay. Out of those 9 seasons or 10 seasons we going on, the Pistons have never tried to build it from scratch. They never have. I'm not sure what corner pick they projected to have, so I have to do the math. Give me a minute, or I have to look at the standings. But like I said before, they have never tried, ever since the Bad Boys, keep this in mind, they have never tried to blow it up, and start it from scratch. Never have they. They've always tried to rebuild it and patch it on the go. And that cost them an entire decade, bro. An entire decade. But then again, did you really trust Joe Dumars to make the correct pick? Because guess what? We probably 2-time champions. We probably win at least 2 more championships. Well, I'm gonna say 1 to be safe. We probably win at least 1 more championship if they drafted Carmelo Anthony. So right now I'm just going through the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So 9. Let me see where the Pistons stand at. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So they about pick 14 to 15, I'm gonna say. I don't have no officials. I'm not looking at it officially. But yeah, they're around pick 14, 15. That's what they got in the draft right now. I'm just guesstimating around 14, 15. Nah, Isaiah Thomas can't coach here, man. I don't think that's a good fit. I don't think that's a good fit, but because of some of the issues he had in his background with the Knicks and stuff. He's not a bad coach though. But Joe Dumars did us in, and Stan Van Gundy did us in. So when that happens, at the end of the day, you can't put it all on Joe and Stan. Okay, when what's Tom Gore's objective though? What is Tom Gore telling them? Oh, we need to win right now. And maybe Joe Dumars is saying, or Stan saying, like, it's take time. Like let's just build it up the right way. But Tom Gore's could be saying, I want to win right now. I want to win right now. Fuck all that building up shit. I ain't trying to build shit up. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to build shit up. You know? He can easily say that. Oh, the Lakers? Nah, nobody trying to deal with LeBron. Keep Isaiah on TV, bro. I don't think so. We need a LeBron guy like Juwan or Tyronn Lue. But yeah, man, I'm just looking at the situation. They've been a whole decade, and the one thing they ain't tried was to tear it down and build it back up. You know, that's the whole thing about it. Kamar, what's going on? He said Tom Gores don't know nothing about basketball. I agree. I haven't seen enough of Romeo this year, honestly. So yeah, man. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, we got another middle of the pack draft pick, and like I said, there's been some good players around there, but you gotta know how to develop the players, how to play the players, not to lose their confidence, man, and play them, man. But like I said before, they tried everything else besides tank. You know what I'm saying? And then this year, you got a really good draft. Last year, you had a solid draft at the top of the draft. I don't think you had that dominant player last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, people think Zion or John Morant, or some people think RJ Barrett can be. But, you know, you wanted to be up there the last couple of years. You know, you wanted to be up there because, you know, your history, you've been high. You missed with Carmelo. I mean, you've been high. Well, you've never been high since then, but you missed with Stanley. You know, you missed on, even Justice Winslow's turned out to be a solid player. You missed on Devin Booker. I mean, you missed on with KCP, with Giannis and them. You missed a ton of picks. You know what I'm saying? You missed a great opportunity drafted in the middle of the pack. I mean, they had chances to get players. They had chances, you know. Klay Thompson, you know, they had chances to get guys. You know. So maybe it's just that they don't believe in the process of draft. That could be there. You know. You know, if you can't scout and you can't draft, I mean, you know, then you got to get high and be like Philly. And Philly still missed 2 times when they was high. They still missed on Markelle. They still missed on Nerlens Noel. You know what I'm saying? It was a risk to take Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons at the end of the day because Ben couldn't shoot. You know, and Embiid is a big guy, and they historically have leg or, you know, physical issues in anyway. So, like I said before, man, this is the perfect draft to be bad. And by the time the fucking Pistons go be bad, you know, the drafts are gonna be superficial. They're gonna lack depth. They're gonna lack talent. Watch what I tell you. By the time the Pistons really wake up and draft and try to be bad for the draft, it's not gonna be a ton of talent that's there, you know. But we shall see. It's a lot of good young talent I'm seeing out here. Great 8th grader. Shout out to Imani Bates, Ypsilanti Lincoln. You know, they won a state championship. He considered the best freshman in the country right now, right out of Ypsi. So anybody in Ypsi that checked out Imani Bates, he can hoop. You know, so you just hope, you just really hope that they figure it out. But we know free agents don't want to come to Detroit. They don't want to come to Indiana. They don't want to come to Cleveland. They want to come to Minnesota. They don't want to come to Philly. They really don't want to go nowhere but really New York, South Florida, and out on the coast in Cali. That's just what it is. Greg, what's going on? You know, that's really what it is. Mark Jackson getting blackballed out the league, bro. Everybody wanted Mark Jackson. I know I'm not gonna say what I heard about Mark Jackson, but Mark Jackson, he ain't gonna be back in the league. I don't think. He got too much. I don't want to say female. I say female tendencies going on with his players. So you think they should trade Blake if they can get a top 7 pick for him? You'd be lucky if you get a first round pick for Blake in general. Y'all can ask. I answer some questions right now. You'll be lucky because his injury history, and I feel like the best move to make for Blake is to clear cap. Whoever can take Blake Griffin, and they give you the best cap room or give you the best package in return, yeah. But at this point, with him breaking down again this season, guess what? At least you could have built. He had a hot start, so they should have traded him by the All-Star break. To be honest, that was the perfect time to trade him. But I thought the perfect trade for him was to go to Oklahoma City. Real talk. Go to Oklahoma City. But you're going to have to wait and see what team don't get a superstar. You know? I don't think his value is that high right now. You know, not as it was the All-Star break before the injury. You know? But you're right. He do got some good value on the market, but I don't think it's top 7 high. because his knee injury, him breaking down again, it's a repetitive thing. But I look at it like, you know, you gotta just move him and just, you know, try to get as much cap space as possible. That's the only way I can really just look at him like that. But if I'm trying to move him, you know, you got to wait to see who loses in free agency, and then you can move him. So the Lakers can lose in free agency, right? What if the Lakers, you know, want to welcome him back, and they, you know, they can't get Anthony Davis, or they just looking to get any and everybody. Nobody want to come there. Jimmy, Kawhi, KD, Al Horford, Chris Middleton don't want to go there. All these free agents, and they desperate. You know what I'm saying? You know, I say they desperate for somebody, and I can see a situation where the Lakers might be so desperate with Magic Johnson being stupid. You probably can send Blake over there for a little bit of nothing. As far as getting something in return, you could be like, okay, we'll take, I don't know who else they got over there, or we'll take Brandon Ingram, or we take Lonzo Ball for Blake since y'all got the cap space. You know, and we'll take a second round pick. Or if you don't want to trade nobody like that, we take whoop-de-whoop for a first-round draft pick. You're just really trying to clear cap space out for the Pistons. You know, that's what you're really trying to do. You're trying to be flexible. You know, but it could be some good deals out there for Blake Griffin. You know, it's a sucker born every day. But, you know, with his repetitive history of injury, you know, it is what it is. Avery Bradley, I don't know. Good coach, but they ain't trying to give brothers more than one chance. Anybody wants to take that cap hit? That's the question, you know what I'm saying? But people desperate, you know, desperate to win, just like the Pistons desperate to win. Somebody could be, for like the Lakers would be a prime example. If they don't get nobody and they can't trade for AD right now, you know, could they? You know, you look at a team like Phoenix. You know, they want to, you know, sell tickets. They would need a veteran presence. You know, they got the cap space to take the hit. Do you say, you know what, we want to go ahead and we want Josh Jackson. Let's bring Josh Jackson back to Detroit, and we'll take a second round pick, whatever, you know, we can balance that out. You're really just trying to clear space. Phoenix is a team that's looking for veteran presence. DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker. You know, they probably gonna keep Kelly Oubre, Blake Griffin. That's a good little nucleus right there. You know what I'm saying? Phoenix is need a veteran out there that can really lead them into the future. So we continue to just keep looking on. Orlando already got a Blake Griffin and Aaron Gordon. Miami, they got assets they looking to trade off, but you know, would they want Blake Griffin? They already got beat up Deion Waiters, so we just looking around the league like who really desperate enough to take him. You know another trade that's out there that a lot of people won't like, but that may make sense. Blake Griffin for fucking Andrew Wiggins straight up. Maybe Andrew Wiggins need a change of scenery. You need a guard. You probably can finesse them out of a first two for that situation. You need a guard. You know, he ain't the greatest thing out there, but he feels a need at the wing. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's fairly durable. As long as Steven Jackson don't catch up with him and beat him and his brother ass, he functionable. And maybe you can bring back Taj Gibson in return, or Dario Saric in return, you know, to be with him. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, you know, they might make you take the Gorgie Jane contract, a big fella that can defend the rim a little bit, stretch it out a little bit. So it is what it is. You know, but that's if you really want to get rid of Blake's contract, you might have to look at that. Andrew Wiggins. You need a guard. You can get Dario Saric back. Possibly pick up a draft pick in return. I'm not a huge fan of Andrew Wiggins neither, but it fits it. He better than every guard we got on the team. He ain't making as much as Blake Griffin either. That's what you got to remember. You know, you go out to Brooklyn. You know, if Brooklyn don't hit nobody in free agency, you know, can you get Dinwiddie back? You know, what if they looking to move, you know, D'Angelo Russell or something like that? I heard they are. You know, whatever reason they is. I mean, you know, Joe Harris, Allen Crabbe. You just looking to dump cap space. You looking to create cap space. So I'm just throwing some things out there. I'm not agreeing with the majority of things that I'm saying, but I mean, I'm agreeing. I'm just talking hypotheticals. You know, who else you can go out there and look at? I'm trying to think off the dome. Memphis is in clear rebuild mode, so that won't work. They rejected Blake Griffin. The Hornets could be an opportunity if Kemba Walker walk. and you say, okay, we give you Blake Griffin and whoopty whoop whoop for a first rounder, and they need somebody to come to the games, I think Michael Jordan would be stupid enough to do it. He said Fred Jackson say, Derrick Rose, nah, man, Derrick Rose is finished, man. I can't even say he better that everybody. His talent says he better than everybody. What do he saw it? Hell no. I don't know what he talking about, Fred. What you talking about? I mean, see, look up. He's talking about Andrew Wiggins. Okay. They just need a better bunch of bench player starters. Can't do it all by yourself and a good consistent point guard. But every good team has a good bench player. So where do you get Ronnie Jones? Where do you get bench production from if you don't have cap space? So are we banking on Kyrie Thomas and this whatever rookies come in this year to develop from year 1 to year 2, and then the rookies to develop off rip and come contribute and give us some shit off the bench? Real talk, is that what we banking on? Because we don't have any money. I believe they negative $10 million over the cap, so we don't have that money. And where do we find a good point guard from? Because ain't nobody trading a good point guard for Reggie Jackson expiring contract, and our scraps. That just don't happen. That's just plain and simple. That ain't gonna happen. But what I trade Blake Griffin and hell yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, I would look at trading everybody. Like I said, I would start over and just build it from scratch. Stefanowski look like he know what the fuck he doing. You know what I'm saying? Portland, yeah. I mean, really at this point in Portland, they gotta wait for Nurkic to get his knee together. That'll be a good fit for Blake. Portland. They need that extra star, the extra boost scorer. But really, what would you get in return in Portland? You know what I'm saying? Enes Kanter, Mo Harkless. You can't get Nurkic because him and Dre don't play together, and he all got to broke his leg. Their first round draft pick gonna be real, real low. What you say? I'll give you Blake Griffin for your next 2 or 3 year first round draft picks. I hope that Portland fall off or something like that, because you're not getting Lillard, you're not getting McCollum. So, what would you want from Portland? Portland would just be straight cap relief. And taking on some players that contract that's going to expire real soon. So, I wish we could get Kemba for anyone we got. Not going to work. He a free agent. And then Charlotte not going to do a sign and trade. He said, let the youth play. Exactly. Let the young guys play, man. Let me see. Anybody else here that Civi got the future? Yeah, I heard that. I read that article. I definitely read that article, man. But like I said before, the Pistons have never, in the last 10 years, they never sold out to be bad. And it's time now, man. It's time now, man. It's be bad. Because you hit it for a collision course. It's basically you trying to cover up one problem and then to create another problem. Then they create another problem. And another problem, another problem, another problem. That's at the point we got to. We at the point where we got multiple problems now. Andre Drummond, y'all can keep asking questions. Andre Drummond ain't produced a post game yet. So we continue to create multiple problems. Dre's improved free throw shooting, defending the rim, toughness. He's improved a ton. Andre, if I didn't say him. He improved a ton. Blake Griffin has improved a ton, since, being with Lob City. But, at this point, you gotta have something to get something. The only difference is the 15th pick or the 13th pick. But I'll take a lesson from the Greek Freak sweep. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'll take a playoff. At this point, it ain't no going back now. They gotta make it. Ain't no going back. The Pistons, if they miss play, they're gonna have like a 1% chance to win the lottery. Even with a 50% chance, we still wouldn't win it. He in the G League right now, the CV guy. He in the G League. I don't know why CV and Kyrie. I don't know why Kyrie Thomas is not in the rotation for sure. He said, I think they shooting too many 3-pointers. That's what Dwayne Casey came out and said he wanted to do this season. He said he wanted to change the way the Pistons played to get with the times. He wanted them to shoot more 3-pointers. But to shoot more 3-pointers, you got to have shooters. And Reggie Jackson is a solid 3-point shooter. Blake Griffin is built as well to be a solid 3-point shooter. But who is this exceptional 3-point shooter? Who is your Klay Thompson? Who is your Steph Curry, your Kevin Durant? Who is your James Harden? Who is your Joe Harris is another really a good underrated one. Who is these guys out here? But if they really wanted to rebuild it on the fly, they should have called up Boston. You know what I'm saying? They should have called up Boston and tried to get Terry Rozier and Jaylen Brown. You probably would have had to give up fucking Andre Drummond. And I remember somebody said, well, Andre, you just trying to make Boston better than us. You helping Boston out. Boston going to whoop your ass regardless. With or without Andre Drummond, they going to beat our ass. But what you trying to do, if you trying to build on the fly, you got to get guys who got, all-star potential and let them come in and play. Terry Rozier, Jaylen Brown would be a good start. You know what I'm saying? Then you can, you look at Blake Griffin and see what you can do with him. And then you got to draft better. But like I said before, it is what it is. It is what it is with the Detroit Pistons, man. They've been doing this shit for over a decade. Shit, even before a decade was out. They never sat here and been bad and then just, try to get at the top of the draft. They always want faded or stars nobody else wants. And they see the demise of them and they sell them to us real quick. And then they come here and they shit the bed. They've been doing that to Detroit, to the Pistons. So the Pistons really, in my opinion, the Pistons, they played this all wrong, man. They played it all. They've been playing it wrong for 10 years, man. Before when they had Chucky Atkins and them dudes here, when they had Grant Hill, they was just trying to win so bad that they ran Grant Hill into the ground and didn't put enough around Grant Hill. What did the fucking Spurs do? When they had David Robinson, they tanked and got Tim Duncan. Real talk, they tanked and got Tim Duncan. They tanked and got Tim Duncan. When they had David Robinson. Somehow Houston had Ralph Sampson and Akeem Olajuwon. He said they got back down the game by 1 and kept lost in threes instead of going down low, but never adjusted. Yeah, you would think Blake Griffin should be featured on the box a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? But they just treat Blake Griffin like a guard or like a point forward. He need to be posted up on the box a lot more. But that's just my opinion. Sean Elliott, he said, I think he been tanking is not always the answer. You just got to hit your draft picks because the Clippers tanked for 20 years. No, you got to hit your draft picks. But at the end of the day, if you tried everything else, it didn't work. The Clippers just cursed. You tried everything else, it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? You try everything else. You got to have the right draft class to do it in too. Chicago Bulls, the same thing. Without Jordan, they don't have no team history. D Rose came in and held it down, and they had Tyson Chandler and Eddie Curry to begin with, but that never materialized. Like I said before, look at what they paying scouts for, what they pay the GM for. Do your job. How hard was it to pick last year? If you turn on the film of Luka Doncic, he was clearly the one best player last year in the draft. I don't care what they said about DeAndre Ayton. Luka Doncic was the most accomplished guy in the draft last year. And the only reason that he was clear number 1 is because Michael Porter had a back injury. And he back dunking and stuff now. Had the Pistons kept their draft pick last year, they would have been able to get Michael Porter and build his strength back up and let him get healthy, and you would have had a potential superstar. But them motherfuckers don't think like that. These Detroit teams don't take no risk with nobody. They don't take any risk. And the risk they take is like taking on Blake Griffin. That's the risk they take. The Clippers were dumb. Jerry West got them together in 2 years, made the playoffs in the West without trying. Exactly, and traded away one of their best players, Tobias Harris. Love De Niro. Casey got to step up the offense. True. But a lot of teams don't run offense no more. A lot of these dudes, they rarely run sets. It's a lot of isolation, pick and roll. Even Golden State is getting stuck up in that. They getting stuck up in that. They getting stuck up in isolation ball and stuff like that. But when they move the ball, a lot of Princeton action at the top of the top, moving and a lot of fluidity. Any offense would be better. We had a better shooting team before the Blake trade, but the coaching wasn't shit. Now they got a better coaching with less talent. Rodney Jones. Yeah, I can see that. Is it just some teams that will never win a championship today? Denver, Phoenix, Clipper, Portland, Toronto, and so forth. I wouldn't say Denver. I think Denver got a chance, but it depends on how they use their assets. Denver can really go out there and make a ton of big trades, man, with the assets they got. But it's going to be how they play them. Denver should just build that team around Jokic. Because you got Will Barton that can help a lot of teams out. You got Gary Harris that can help a lot of teams out. Jamal Murray can help a lot of teams out. He really not a point guard. If Denver wanted to, Denver can move up and probably get a second pick and try to steal Morant. They got Craig, Morris, Beasley on the bench, Isaiah Thomas on the bench. Miles Plumlee on the bench. They got assets to be a great team. Paul Millsap's still there. I think his contract will be up in a minute. Denver got a big window. Denver really can trade for Anthony Davis and fuck around and make a deal for somebody else. They can fuck around and trade for Kuzma. They can mess around and trade for anybody they want to trade for, man. Denver can do it. They need a point guard. Denver can go get a point guard. Denver wanted Bradley Beal. Denver can have Bradley Beal like that. Denver can have Bradley Beal like that. If they want to risk Anthony Davis, they can have him like that. They got too many assets. They got a ton of assets in Denver. Sacramento's another young team. For years and years, they have never been allowed to win a championship. But he right, Jay Third right. It's certain teams that in the NBA, if you ain't the Celtics, the Lakers, you ain't in a big market, or you not got a team that got a big star like LeBron on it, you really ain't winning no championship. They never allowed OKC to win one. And they wasn't going to let OKC win one. You think the NBA would have let the Lakers trade James Harden and Kevin Durant walk away from the Lakers and Ibaka walk away from the Lakers? Hell no. The NBA is not small team or mid-market team friendly. They want just the big teams to be in there. They don't care about Minnesota, Indiana, Milwaukee, Detroit, Philadelphia, or Orlando. They don't care about teams like that. They care about the New York, the Boston, the teams that had legacy. The team that's in big markets. That's what they care about. They ain't want San Antonio in there winning them championships. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want San Antonio there. So San Antonio was getting some of the lowest finals ratings out there. He said, I don't believe we should have tanked. They should have a chance. The only problem is bad luck with health right now. With Blake Griffin at the worst time, Pistons still got a nice players in the first round. He says that I don't believe they should have tanked. If they missed the playoffs, they should have tanked. Then that's not debatable. Old school. If they missed the playoffs, that's not debatable. I still think they'll make it. But he said bad luck at the wrong time with Blake Griffin. When has he never not been healthy at a great time? He's always getting injured. Going back to the Clippers, that's one thing you can count on. That's one thing you can fucking count on is Blake Griffin and Chris Paul being injured at the worst time possible. That's one. That was the owner, Rodney Jones, that made them. He didn't want to pay James Harden like $3 million, not $3 million per year, but $3 million. So they traded him to Houston. He said, "Let's miss the playoffs, fella. Let Charlotte get in. These niggas don't want it." It's pretty much. Oh, I mean, they gotta make it at this point, because they don't make it. Then you trash. You don't have a real shot at the lottery. You probably got a 1% or a 0.5% chance. They got to make it at this point. They should have just fucking tanked and blew the team up. I said it going into this year. This team don't have it. Your team built around Andre Drummond, questionable health with Reggie Jackson, questionable player in Reggie Jackson, and health issues with Blake Griffin. That's what your team built around. Real talk. That's what your team built around. Shit, even Stevie Wonder see this team, man, really had nowhere to go, man. Or it was going to end bad. But, hey, it's the game, man. I appreciate everybody for checking in, man. I have more content later. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out to the email if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, or video request. One time for the one time we gone, fellas.